are right now this week?
Pre-season, 2024. Training. Rehabbing.
That is cold.
Team bonding. And diagnosing everything that happened in 2023.
11th out of 12th is just shit. Crap.
Absolute shit.
That is what this week has been all about.
This is Camp Confidential, your behind-the-scenes, immersive, access all areas look into Majesticks GC. Hello?
Hey!
Oh my goodness! Ian, shut the dogs up. Where'd the other one go?
I don't know which is a...
Shh, come in.
Anyone see Theo? Outside, garden outside. Come on! Hey, come on!
Carnage. Can you just tell everyone who's here, just...
Dr. Steve McGregor on the telephone, being very busy over there. We've got Angus. Yeah. Everyone knows social media Angus. Team principals, James Dunkley, Ollie Banks.
Ollie Banks. Do I need to go through his stats? 6'4", bald, English, privately educated. James Dunkley. You want to be 6 foot, but he's not.
These are some example things we'll have to cut out.
Somebody that I call family. We can trust those guys to always do the right thing. They're very good, basically.
I'm going to take you back next door
Come on,
because
doggies.
you are non-stop.
Right, this way. It's quiet, guys, right? Can you hear me if I ask you a question? Dogs
What?
aren't in your ear now.
You are?
Shush. I mean, this is stunning.
It's a great spot. Next door is really much kind of used as a friends and family and Majesticks GC little hub, and Lee's now come to stay. It's like a full family affair.
What's it like having Henrik 2 minutes down the road?
Listen, our practical jokes that were really funny for a period of time, they were getting out of control.
What was the worst one?
At the Open Championship, he threw tuna and bread on my roof at night time, and then the seagulls woke up at like 5 o'clock in the morning. It was more than pitter patters on my
They're loud,
RV
aren't
roof.
they?
Yeah, they're horrific.
What the hell is Henrik Stenson?
What the hell is Henrik Stenson? I mean, he's a pain in the arse. He's big, strong, and he's Swedish.
Yeah, that's me. Every team's got to have a confusing one.
Sam's super young. Do you think it's been an eye-opener for him being around the three of you so much?
I've known Sam since he was probably like 13 years old. Played golf with him here for the first time, and I was unbelievably impressed. The whole transition of this for us as three captains, it's really nice to be in a position to bring Sam in. If we as senior figures within the team can help him develop him and his game, and the good stuff that we've experienced through we'll have 70, probably got 80 years of experience between the three of us, then it'll be great for us as Team Majesticks to have that.
I mean, that's quite unique as well, really, isn't it? The fact that we're now talking about team sports, or golf as a team element rather than individual, what you've done your whole career pretty much, apart from Ryder Cups. Did you ever think you were going to be in that situation where you're still playing and yet you're trying to develop another player?
All of this and all of what's been achieved in my game is it doesn't really make that much sense, apart from the fact that I was a kid who loved playing golf. And this journey that we've been on, it's kind of just happened. And this is Disneyland. It doesn't make sense. And I think we're pretty fortunate to have a piece of a franchise and mould that into whatever we want it to be.
There's so much more to this franchise model that I actually think is exciting. And this team that I'm very proud of has an opportunity to do something that other teams don't have. The other teams don't have three captains, they have one captain. We can share the load.
I can't really think of many sports people or tier one sports that kind of go, yeah, sure, come and live with the team for a week?
I've always been open.
Yeah.
Team's always been open. I think collaboratively we're happy to do a behind the scenesy kind of run through and let people in the outside world come and see what we're doing and how we're going to approach trying to be the best at every aspect of the business side of this team golf. I think we're doing a great job. Not on the golf course. However, that's going to change. We want to make this franchise work, not to say the other teams don't, but we have been invested obviously in making sure that this operational business works. Has that sacrificed any performance? I don't really know.
Poulter for par at 16. A blow for the Majestics.
11th out of 12th in terms of the rankings. How do you hope the players take that?
Not happy. I don't think anyone would be happy finishing 11th out of 12th. It is a personal disappointment that I feel I've let the team down.
It is about, tearing down those walls to say, okay, right, let's lay it on the table. We are all close enough and understand where weeks like this are really dedicated to, and that is to make incremental gains. It's time to start getting this body in action. I've been in the gym for 4 weeks, so it's time for me to start hitting some balls.
How many balls have you hit in this off-season?
Not very many.
Might hurt then. Right, go on. Enjoy. And I'm going to go and see if there's any guys around here.
See you later.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. You're kind of lodging here this week?
Yeah.
Kind of. Home from home?
Free.
Does it feel like a bit of a home from home for you?
He's going to start charging me rent, Ian, I think, if I'm not careful.
Do you actually have to call him now and say I'm coming, or can you just rock up and the door's open if you've got a key?
I just know the codes to everything.
Knows the codes, that's fine. Sam, you and Ian go back a long way, as you and Leader as well.
Yeah. Ian and I first played golf here when I was 13. Known him for more than half my life. It was right here where we met.
Are these guys kind of father figures to you as well? Obviously, you
Oh,
must
stop it.
I said kind of.
Older brothers.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Older brothers. But obviously you watched them growing up. You must have been inspired by both of them and Henrik as well.
Of course, yeah.
I remember watching Westy, when he was #1 in the world, winning everything. Same with Ian, same with Henrik when he was, when he took down Phil a few years ago in the Open. I remember those things. I've watched them. I learned from them. I idolized them. Growing up, I wanted to be in their position.
Do you still feel like he's like a kid when you look at him and he's part of this team? The three of you.
I don't look at him and think he is a kid. Yeah. I'm a son his age.
Do you give him advice? Can he take advice if so?
Yeah. I'd still take advice of people. Yeah. I mean, you never stop learning, especially in golf. You think you've got it one day and then it's gone the next. So, yeah, I'm always trying to take advice from people. When I was Sam's age, I was on tour and I would listen to people like Greg Norman and Nick Price and people like that, Seve. Golf's a bit unique in that way, where players that are competing week in, week out will help each other. I've been an individual for most of my career, now I'm in a team, so it makes even more sense to pass on some experience and knowledge.
Having the mental sharpness and fortitude to want to keep going out there and working at it is the toughest part as you get older. When you've been doing something kind of relentlessly for 35 years, it's difficult to retain the same enthusiasm, so that's a challenge in itself when you get to 50 years of age. Time's a sportsman's or an athlete's biggest problem. There's no overcoming it. It doesn't even creep up on you, it smacks you right in the face.
Can you touch your toes?
Oh yeah.
Come on. I can't, that's why I asked. I literally am the most...
See? Look. Yeah.
Come on. I genuinely am...
Feet together or?
I can't do feet together. Oh, you're better than me. That's terrible. That is terrible.
Not bad, is it?
No. What is the plan then? What does this look like? 15 minutes a day?
Yeah, it takes me about 15, 20 minutes. I've got into a routine of doing it.
If you didn't do it, where would you be right now in your career?
Oh, my career would have finished. I didn't really treat golf as an athletic sport, really until Tiger came on the scene. You know, I just considered myself to be a golfer and didn't come in the gym at all. It's such an explosive sport and you're doing the same exercise pretty much every time. You know, it can wear down certain parts of your body, so it's important to keep those parts of your body strong, maintain them. Especially with, you know, Sam having had a hip injury, his training's taken on another dynamic as well. So not only does he have to stay fit in the areas of his golf swing, he's also got to constantly stay on top of his hip, although that's not giving him any problems anymore. Judging by the distance, he's now hitting it.
Is that right?
It is right, yes, it is. My body feels amazing, yeah. Surgery was definitely the best thing to do.
I guess we were speaking about that with Sam a little bit, the fact that you've got to keep mentally alert when you've got an injury, probably even more so, it's the hardest point of your career.
There's peaks and troughs in everything, isn't there? And I think that's when you find out how mentally strong you really are. You know, I see a psychologist. It's an important part of the game. You know, it's not like tennis where the ball's coming at you and then, you know, you react to it. The ball's sat on the ground, you've got a lot of time to think about things and walking between shots, you know, a lot of things can creep into your head. I always feel like people struggle mentally when they haven't prepared properly. I think, you know, if you've done the hard work away from the golf course, this kind of preparation, hitting balls, being confident in your ability, then it's much easier to be mentally positive.
When you were actually doing that, when these guys were still competing last year, you know, what even kind of keeps you motivating during that time? Because it's so dull.
It sucks for me because I'm like, I should be there, you know. It was really, really tough. And it was just workout, you know, rehab every single day for 3 months straight. And I changed my diet as well and a bit of a life change too, you know, just sort of a bit of a reset.
When you're here as well, is that something that you guys actively think about? What does a breakfast, lunch, dinner look like? I want to know now.
So now I'm having fruit and yogurt and some granola in the mornings, which personally I have actually felt has made the biggest difference instead of lunch and dinner time. And now that I'm eating more healthier in the mornings and getting my day started right, I feel like I have a lot more energy from that.
When you hear him talk like that, do you feel a sense of like responsibility, like, you know, shaking, you go, veg, fruit, they exist.
Yeah.
Listen to see where I am now.
It's like
as a
talking
50-year-old.
to my kids, to be
Do you
really
feel like
honest.
that?
I do feel like a father figure, yeah. Going back to, you know, Sam's injury, what you've got to remember is most people in sport get injured.
Yeah.
You know, if you're a footballer, you get injured. If you're a rugby player, you get injured. The great thing about golf is your career can last until you're in your 50s. You know, I'm an example of that. So, you know, Sam at 27 has got a long way to go, and it's, you know, it's important to get on top of injuries straight away and not let them get any worse, because, you know, if you're a really skillful golfer, you'll change your swing to accommodate an injury, and it can affect you long term. You know, it can put you in bad positions in your golf swing. So it was definitely right for Sam to get surgery on it, get it done, and look forward to the next 25 years or however long it might be. It's very important to have a strong, wise team around you, which is, you know, what Sam's got now.
I think these guys have been through pretty much every situation you can ever be on in a golf course, right? Like, you know, they've been there, done that in every aspect of golf, right? So to just have that opportunity that I didn't have, you know, a few years ago is just frees me up. You know, mentally, you know, I can go to Wes and say, hey, you know, I'm struggling with this, or, you know, when I'm over a shot, I feel this, or whatever it may be, you know. So just to have that option is really, really cool.
Well, he said it, he's a big brother. So
Exactly.
Righty, well, you've got work to do, so
Yeah, thanks.
stretching, whatever you're doing, crab walks, Sam, not sure, but I'm departing. So Team Majesticks has two GMs, Ollie and James, who are having a meeting. I'm going to go and chat to them because I want to understand how they manage a team of superstars who aren't particularly living up to their billing, and how they go about telling them maybe some home truths. Hello. I guess I'm going to start with, how are you feeling about what you witnessed last year?
It wasn't nice.
The reason that LIV exists and the team exists is to go and compete on the field. So it's a problem. I mean, it's a problem if we don't perform better on the golf course. It's not curtains, but, you know, it's a big problem.
I guess people don't forget results though, which is hard. And I say that, James, when we went out for dinner, there was a caddy sitting on the table opposite, and he kind of came over and went, "Oh, you guys are back in town. You got a lot of work to do." Like, for me, I was like, ouch. When you hear people saying those things, still, I know it was kind of said in jest, but they mean it.
Yeah, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. You know, all of that stuff is, you know, is good motivation. So I don't think that's an issue.
Money, fear, you know, all of these things can be big motivators. I think the bigger motivators and where you've seen these guys perform at their best is when they've got a point to prove. I think one of the best performances I've ever seen in context was Henrik's win at Bedminster in 2022.
Stenson, glorious, magisterial. The Swedes sacrificed the Ryder Cup captaincy to join Live Golf. He has dominated the field here in Bedminster.
Thank you. After all the criticism that Henrik received for going to Live, having been named Ryder Cup captain, to come out and win that golf tournament, bearing in mind the scrutiny he was under, was staggering.
A question maybe, and it has talked about a lot in social media as well, was the rankings and the relegation. Lee finished 45th, but there's a contractual issue because Lee is a captain and a co-owner that he didn't. And, you know, I looked at the social media and it was pretty brutal. I'm sure Lee looked at it as well. And everyone's kind of like, oh, is that why there's 3 team captains, 3 team owners, so you don't get eliminated?
Historically, I think it's really important to point out here that, you know, when the guys have played on various different tours around the world, whether that be PGA Tour, DP World Tour, you know, they, through the tournaments they've won, through the order of merits they've won, through the Ryder Cups they've played in, they get given a certain amount of exemption years that they can have, you know, in order to play on that tour. They become very valuable assets to those tours. And I look at it in the same way with Lee. When he came across to Live, you know, he was given a certain amount of years that he was able to play on that league. And the certain amount of years that he was given was as a result of what he'd achieved in the game.
Look, this should be a motivator, I think, for all of the guys within the team, that those naysayers that are around and saying that they're beyond their peak, beyond their prime. They have an opportunity, I think, to silence the noise next year. I think there's still life in the old dogs left, yeah.
47, 47, 50.
Age is just a number, right?
If you were talking about Lee, why wouldn't we as a business want one of the best golfers in history to have an involvement with the business, and perhaps in particular with the mentoring and development of future players on the team? That would be stupid of us not to take advantage of that.
We can't forget, the year before, Lee was our best player.
Who was the person that sat down and said, we need to make changes?
We're in a room here, we're decorated by a lot of not just memorabilia but trophies. So for us, it's not necessarily about, you know, they went in with this with a kind of lax approach or a feel approach and just expected it to happen. I just think sometimes, you know, after a season goes by, you kind of take a look, you know, how it's gone, why it's happened, and it gives you a chance to kind of look at things slightly differently to maybe get the best out of performance.
And you're doing that, obviously, this year. That's kind of like Majesticks 2.0. You're going heavy on the data. Are any of the guys going to go, okay, I'm shocked by what's coming out of the meeting?
There's a difference between thinking we know what's been going on and actually knowing it and having the clarity that, you know, numbers don't lie.
The harsh reality of last year is that our average margin of loss, so the average gap between our score and the winning score each week, was 1.96 shots per player per round. The difference between those 2 shots is between becoming 11th and 1st every single week.
There's too much at stake to guess. Right?
Yeah,
we can't be in a guessing game of what we think is going to have happen. We're just trying to make each other better.
It's Lee Westwood. They haven't had a podium finish in the last 15 events.
It's interesting with the Ian, Lee and Henrik because they wear 2 hats, right? They are owners of this team, part owners of this team, and they are players, contracted players within this team. Whether it's tough or not is by the by. You know, they've appointed us to do the job.
getting them to perform as well as they possibly can and supporting them in that goal is part of our job. I'm not here to be a yes man. Like, I'd rather go out swinging. I don't want to look back and I wish I'd have looked at this a bit more to see if we could have done a bit better. That's not really sort of how I operate.
Sam, though, I guess he's the kind of maybe the outlier in that, because you've got these 3 co-captains and owners. Is he there yet? That he feels confident enough to kind of go to either you two or the other 3 in the team and go, I'm not quite happy with this, or can this change?
I think having the confidence that you can not only draw from that group, but actually start to bring value to that group as well, I can see his confidence starting to build, and that's exactly what we want.
Sam's upside is humongous. So from my side, like, I'm incredibly positive, I think, about what the opportunity for us as a franchise is next year. The stats that we've identified with Henrik would suggest that he's not a million miles away from potentially winning again. You know, Westy was 15th in 2022. You know, so whilst he had a disappointing 23, it's not beyond the wit of man to think that there's potentially performance around the corner. Poulter's been pretty stable. Maybe it's the optimist in me. I just don't think with this game you're a million miles away.
If they were to implement everything you're going to tell them in a few moments' time, where would you predict they could finish this season? Is it as easy as that?
I wish it was a perfect science like that. It doesn't necessarily work in that way. This is such fine margins we're dealing with here. So, you know, to say that if all of this works, you're all of a sudden going to be top of the leaderboard every week, I wish it was like that. There are some real small opportunities that can create a massive difference.
And I think where we're lucky is that I don't think we worry about entering that room in terms of, oh, I'm going to tell him something here, what's he going to think? I'm looking forward to putting some of these numbers on the wall and seeing the reactions.
So I think just as we get started, a couple of housekeeping bits. Like first, like thanks everyone for coming, like getting us together. It wasn't optional. It was, yeah, you had to come. But it's not easy, it's a big investment of everyone's time. There's a lot of presentation of facts, and I've been pretty straightforward and pretty blunt with some of the things that are said in here. The reality is that we had just one top 5 points-based finish amongst the 4 of us, so 52 attempts. 4 top 10s. We're the only team in the league not to have a player finish in the top 24. We had the worst best finish of any team in the league. And we lost by an average margin of 17.6 shots. The point for me is, listen, I don't know what our best is, but we're not 11th. That's for sure. Yeah.
It's shit.
Yeah.
It's shit. It's terrible. It's absolute shit.
I understand why some of the other guys didn't want to speak about last season.
Whatever do you mean, Henrik?
Because they were crap. I was half decent and they were crap.
Focus on ourselves, don't be distracted by the noise. I honestly feel we could do better here. I really want to be focused on controlling the controllables, because even though people say it doesn't affect them, talking about these things wastes energy.
Obviously, we could probably all do a better job controlling those controllables and trying to block out as much as that as you possibly can. You can't eradicate, you can't just not get, like, we've done it for 20-something years. You're emotionally invested and have been.
If you can all honestly tell me that stuff at times hasn't distracted you from doing something that's more productive.
As there's no question, it absolutely has distracted.
Yeah.
We
and
can
that's
all
what I'm bothered about.
More time. We can spend more time not on that bollocks and on other stuff that could help or make a difference. There's no question.
Yeah.
I just felt like we were struggling to stay focused on the task in hand, and that's going out there and kicking ass and playing good golf.
This group of people in the room together today, what I know is that we've got 28 events left together. And I want to be the group that proved everybody wrong, changed the game, went out with a bang, all this kind of stuff. And in Sam's case, be the young European that proved to the world that Live is a platform to set set the world alight at the game at the highest level. And I don't want any of us looking back with, I wish I'd have done this or said this, hence why I've been relatively direct in this today.
I'm fully focused on being the best player I can be for these 2 seasons that I kind of got in my pipeline, and I want to give it the best on this last push of my career.
I'm not ready to finish playing golf in 28 tournaments. I guess technically I could, and I guess financially I could, but I don't think at this point I will be ready for that. I'm working too hard, and I think there are aspects of my game that are still too good to turn around and switch it off.
Well, this has definitely triggered a situation of
reevaluating
a number of things to say, right, okay, what do I actually really want over the next 24 months, right?
Yeah.
And with how things have laid itself out, I'm not happy finishing 11th as a team.
Yeah.
And I'm really not happy finishing where I finished as an individual play. So something has to change.
Yeah.
What was that? What number?
I don't know.
What separates our team, in my view, is the relationships we have. And if we can't be honest with each other and trust each other to say what might be a more difficult conversation, I feel like we're missing a trick.
We are, aren't we?
We aren't honest with each other. Yeah, I think for the most part. I think there's still, if I'm being totally honest, there's still times when people will come to me with an observation about different things, and I'm like, what are you telling me?
I'm happy to do that, but I want everyone in the room being comfortable with asking people about everything.
Like, it's not a comfort thing for me, it's more of a respect thing.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like that's why I probably come to you and say something to you.
Yep.
It's not that I don't want to, it's just I respect them a lot, so I'm more comfortable. So, yeah.
I mean, listen, if someone sees somebody doing something that they think that they could add 0.5% of value to, I don't think we should be afraid to say.
I've watched them, like I learned from them. I idolized them, growing up. I wanted to be in their positions, and I feel like I just really respect what they have done in the game, and they've done so much, and they're such legends of the game. It's just like a bit of a respect thing.
We haven't done enough, and we're almost forcing the issue with you guys a little bit and saying, right, we're going to sit down after every 3 or 4 tournaments, we're going to talk about this. Because
it'll
either be.
I like that. I mean, listen, it's valuable, right? You've only got to tell me to do something because of a reason, and I'll fix it.
Okay.
Like, what do you think you need to go and work on this off season to make your iron play in the blood?
Actually shaping shots into targets with TrackMan, with certain pin locations, which gives you a strokes gain percentage per shot. So you actually use a bit more visualization with your practice, which should help that.
We played it in Chicago, and there was a few times where he couldn't hold greens where I was stopping it pretty quickly. And that statistically, that's what he's struggling with, is those numbers. Whether he doesn't know it because he just sees his game every day, right? So it's just natural to him. I feel like that is a time for me to, say, hey, Ian, I think, if you get your ball flied up a little bit, you'll be able to be more aggressive to these pins. It's not just about hitting it higher, it's about how you hit it higher, right? Do you launch it higher, or do you spin it more? Or what do you do, right? And that's only for Ian to figure out. That's none of my business. That's, he's a great of the game. He'll be able to, figure all that out.
On stats, just on this point of aggression and style of play, I did find it interesting. This is at a team level. So when we're putting for birdie or better, as a team, we lose shots to the field almost every distance increment putting. When we're putting for par or worse, we gain shots at every distance increment.
Right, who's leaving putt short? Because I don't. There's no question we will have a massive improvement in 2024. Or someone's getting fired. I don't know who it is yet, but Otherwise someone's getting, it's not me.
The drum I'm banging a bit is you'd rather err on the side of being a bit more aggressive and have your worst be a bit worse and your better be a bit better, because it pays better for everybody. Not just the team, but for you as individuals. That's the drum I'm banging.
And that's why we brought in Sam, so he could shoot 71, 71, 71, 62.
Oh, I forgot that. I don't know, what have I done all this for then?
And what we got was 80, 79, 72, 71.9.
You were in there for quite a long time.
Yeah, that was a long afternoon, but productive.
Okay.
But I just feel like I just need to maybe get a little bit more professional and just like become more of a complete golfer.
In terms of other learnings as well, the team maybe don't always know how to be open with each other.
Yeah, I would say, yeah. I mean, it's hard, right? Because golf is an individual sport. It's like, it's so hard, like, it's hard for me to, you know, like I was in there and I was not criticizing Ian, but, you know, giving him my input, what I see and what I think he needs to do to get better.
How does that feel? Telling him that.
It's weird, right? Like, you know, because I'm telling him that I think he should do this certain thing in his game, and I need to have, you know, I need to have the courage to say it to him, because I played with him in Chicago and that's where I saw it. And, you know, for the numbers and the stats to show exactly those distances that he was struggling that day was really, really interesting. And, you know, he took it really well and took it all on board, of course. And, you know, all these exercises and all these, you know, activities that we do together only brings us together more as a team, right? You know, like we're saying stuff in there that, you know, I would never have said to Wesley or Ian before, you know, even at the start of today, right? I got to understand that I'm being, you know, critical in a good way, and I'm only trying to help them. You know, and I felt like going into it, I was going to have a bit of a hard time opening up a little bit, but I just sort of sent it in there, but I'm not going to lie, you know, it's hard when I'm, you know, 26 and they're, you know, upper 40s, 50s, you know, won majors, been number ones in the world, you know, it's like, I felt like I didn't really have the level to say stuff, but, you know, in there today, I felt like they accepted what I had to say and were like, respected my opinion, which I, you know, obviously really wanted. So it was a really good day.
Yeah, I think that shows you one thing. It is that they have the utmost belief and faith in you.
Exactly, yeah. No, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a great year.
My game's broken and your game's broken and he stripes it and needs to sort out his putting from 6 to 15 feet. Well, it's shit, and like no one likes like the true reality of it is I think we all sit back and have an evaluation and look at areas to improve. It's a bit shocking when you actually see it on paper. Like if you actually look at the amount of top 5s and top 10s, and
you can't have a year like we've all had last year and come into this and think, oh, these statistics are going to be good. You expect them to be fairly shit, don't you?
Yeah.
But if it's there, broken
If anything, there were one or two that were better than I thought.
why have you got half a smirk? Because there was a smirk coming.
No, you don't want to know everything that's going on in
There's
here.
half a smirk coming. I was just.
Yeah, we touched on it in there. We're not getting any younger. I mean, we're getting older. The game's getting younger, and then
You're getting older.
Yeah.
All right, Benjamin.
The only thing is that you two are both older than me. Not by much on this one, but no. So yeah, we're not going to hit it 360 all of a sudden, are we? So we got to try and be better at the things that we can be good at, and improve the ones that needs a bit of sharpening.
Well, your mid-long range putting was phenomenal. Your iron play, phenomenal. Sam's 150 out, phenomenal. My short game was great. There's other, like if you take all of those bits, which we are really good at, would have half a decent player. No, come on.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
For more truths.
It's another true story.
Nice view out here.
It's beautiful, isn't it? It's lovely.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, mission success. Landed 24 hours ago here in Orlando, didn't really know what to expect from the team. What would they be like? Would they be welcoming? Would they be like they are on social media? Yes, is the answer. And more. They are so open, so honest, quite harsh with each other as well, giving a few home truths, which is exactly what I guess we all wanted. But ultimately the reason why I watch a sport is because of the human side of things. I love to learn the backstories, to delve into their personalities, and that's exactly what we're seeing here this week in Orlando. The mission is on. Majestic GC 2.0 is very much on, and I can't wait for the next couple of days just to see how much they open up even more heading into this new season.
Coming up on Camp Confidential.
What is it, Blair Witch Project style? Is that old school, too old school?
We're going old school.
We're going old school.
Change is hard for anybody in any business, but evolve or die.
Hi guys, I hope you've enjoyed the behind the scenes exclusive content that we're giving you here at Majesticks GC. If you like this content and you want to keep following, become a fan, LiveX, sign up, we'll give you exclusive content before anyone else sees it.